Good morning. How are you guys doing on this Sunday? I hope that your weekend was great. I hope that you didn't get rained out or whatever was happening with the weather in your area. I hope that you managed to get some things done, even though you probably had to do it indoors if it was raining. I had a very good Saturday. We celebrated Mom's 80th birthday. I don't know if you guys have been paying attention to some of the things that's been going on in the news. I really haven't been looking at the news, but I do read some articles of things that did happen. And on the 30th, let's go back. Before the 30th, we had the whole Nord Stream pipeline situation take place where they believe it to be tampered with or sabotage to have the leaks that it's having right now. Then push forward to September 30th, Biden made a statement and he directed it at Putin, and he also directed it to NATO, letting them know that he does believe that it was sabotage, that eventually we will get someone down into the water, divers, to go and inspect it to confirm that situation. And he warned Putin. This is a lot of back and forth of warning.
I really wanted to get it right, trying to find some balance in my life.
So his statement stated, "We will defend NATO territory." And I want you to be clear. So let's be clear. We will stand by our allies and we will defend every single inch. And so I want it to be clear to you, so that it's not mistaken. Every single inch will be defended by America. And those were the words that Biden stated to Putin. This thing is escalating, you guys. It's already escalated. Let me just say that. It's already escalated. The measures to tamper with a pipeline that is created to pump millions of gallons of fuel to Europe. So they're weaponizing things in different ways. This war is going to take on a different look than any war that we have ever seen or heard about or read about. We're dealing with new situations. Technology is new. That wasn't back then. This war that we're going to see now, it can affect millions of people like that. Okay? From cyber on to satellites on. So with that, you guys, I know you say all the time in the comments, well, how do you prepare for that? What do? You do the best that you can by getting your home fortified with the things that you need, all the way to security. Because when things really do start getting ugly and all of these things start crashing around us and we can't use the internet or we can't do anything because power is gone or whatever is gone, you're going to wish you did. So stock up on ways to heat your home. Stock up on ways to feed your family. Stock up on ways to secure your home and your family and your preps and whatever you're doing. Do that, and that is doing enough for now, because that's all we can do is what we can do. And with this thing taking a turn for the worse, we are going to see a World War III, but it won't be like 1 and 2. It may actually be even worse. And this is not to stoke fears or anything like that. This is just to prepare you for what is the possibility that every single day it looks like we are headed in that direction, because every single day something else is happening and we have to step up and we have to say we have to defend NATO because we are a part of it. Now, whether we win this war or not, I don't know, but it is headed in that direction, you guys. So I just wanted to let you know those things, and also keep some cash on hand. Try to get it in small bills, as smaller bills as you possibly can. We still have, if you look around and you see this store closing, that store closing, how long before your store closes? So keep some cash on hand, get your house stocked up, pray about it, make a plan of what you will do when something does happen, and hopefully everything will work out how it's meant to work out. So, update to the story. As of today, 1:18, I'm reading that Russia is also saying that it is a possibility that the Nord Stream pipeline can be restored. Mind you, there are 4 individual leaks there, and the thought that that was not intentional is still up in air, because NATO and the U.S. believes that it was intentional, that it was sabotage. So the warning has come out. The Swedish government has warned their citizens that they need to start preparing for a possible invasion by Russia. They already have some Ukrainian citizens there. So more and more of the Swedes are preparing by getting camping gear, by trying to stock up on ammo, which is hard to find. So if they are preparing, ask yourself, why aren't you preparing? So I'm watching this video. I'm going to leave it in my video so you can see it. And the difference between things. Okay, so they're talking to the Swedish citizens. One says, I'm not like these crazy preppers who live way out in the woods. You know, I live in the city, and so I'm prepping up for whatever's going to happen. What's the difference? Why do you have to make a difference between you're prepping just, for things that might happen? Aren't those crazy preppers doing the same thing out there in the woods for any potential disaster that might happen?
Of nuclear weapons, recent threats from Russia's President Vladimir Putin to use nuclear weapons have sent a shudder across the world, conjuring visions of Armageddon and nuclear fallout, echoes of the Cold War. The COVID pandemic certainly showed the world how swiftly society can grind to a halt. Most people managed to survive that, but how would they cope with other catastrophes? In Sweden, with its bid to join NATO and the war in Ukraine, citizens are being encouraged to get ready, just in case. As special correspondent Malcolm Brabant reports from Sweden, what's called prepping has gone mainstream.
Sweden is one of the last places you'd expect Armageddon. It hasn't been at war for over 200 years, but the state is urging citizens to prepare for catastrophe.
Although Sweden is safer than many other countries, there are still threats to our security and independence. Everyone who lives in Sweden shares a collective responsibility for our country's security and safety. If you are prepared, you are contributing to improving the ability of the country as a whole to cope with a major strain.
One of the fundamental differences between the United States and Sweden is that out of necessity, Americans are much more self-reliant. There is a social contract here, and in return for paying some of the highest taxes in the world, the Swedes and other Scandinavians expect the state to take care of them from the cradle to the grave. But the COVID pandemic exposed the flaws in that system and undermined public trust. What's more, the prospect of the war in Ukraine spilling across borders into other countries has accelerated the need for people here to be more self-sufficient.
Lovely axe. I want to survive, and I want my kids to survive, and I will do anything I can to protect both me and them. Good.
Lotta Dalinius is preparing for emergencies ranging from a power outage to doomsday.
We have people from Ukraine here in our little village. It's good to be reminded that you can't take everything for granted all the time. You have to just be prepared that things can happen.
In tranquil southern Sweden, fear of war has increased since the nation signed up to NATO.
Of course, we should be frightened of Russia. They have a frame of mind to bring back the old empire.
If disaster strikes, Lotta will either say, Armageddon out of here, and head to her cabin on the west coast, or grab her emergency kit.
This is just some of the good to have and nice to have, and some must-haves. You have to have a real good knife. You can just use it for everything, protecting yourself, or if you want to make food or have to build a shelter or whatever.
What is that thing?
It's a small kitchen. Here's the frying pan.
It's like a Russian doll.
Yeah, it is. Here you have to make your coffee and stuffing here. You put your gas burning in here and then you can just boil coffee. It's basically outdoor stuff. You don't need special prepping stuff.
There's a substantial difference between Swedish small-town practitioners and American YouTuber The Sensible Prepper.
Without rule of law, if things really kind of go sideways, there's a lot of people out there, they become desperate. They want food or they want to do whatever, or they're just nefarious and they just want to cause trouble. I just want to highly recommend, guys, that you stock up on ammo now.
Here we have freeze-dried peppers, 15 years shelf life. And then we have like butter with long shelf life, apricot jam.
Tins of peas, curried rice, but no ammo. Not a single round in the booming online prepping store run by Fredrik Kvarnstrom.
Every time something happens in the world, like there's a war or the pandemic or terrorist bombings and things like that, sales goes up. We have a lot of water purification equipment. There are a lot of lakes and rivers in Sweden, so if you purify the water with some kind of equipment, the water is drinkable. When I started, I believed the normal customer would be a man living in the outskirts, far away from the cities. But it's not like that. I have people all over Sweden, and a lot of them are living inside the cities, like in flats.
People tend to remember those typical preppers with guns, surviving in the woods, but I am not one of those crazy preppers. I'm just an ordinary man wanting to make sure that my family can live a good life.
Martin Svenberg is heading to one of his food stashes in the basement of a Stockholm apartment block that doubles as a bomb shelter. What are you preparing for?
Well, I don't know. Everything. A crisis can be several different things. It can be war, it can be a pandemic, obviously, but it can also be being out of a job. Or it can be I also prepare for inflation. So this is just a buffer. So if something happens, I actually have time to adjust my way of life or adjust something and then consume the buffer. Here we have sugar and salt. All these boxes are filled with baking supplies, dry powdered milk, flour as well.
Are you being hysterical?
No, I'm not hysterical. But it has become a way of life for me to be prepared in different ways. But I don't have any guns.
Earlier this summer, Svenberg spent 24 hours confined to his apartment without electricity. It was an attempt to teach his 16-year-old son Maximilian how to survive without the conveniences of modern life.
It was fun, but yeah, it became boring after a while. It was kind of difficult for me because I'm kind of addicted to my phone, and without electricity and like charging, it was pretty difficult to sit and do nothing because I'm not used to that.
I wouldn't go so far to say that there's an increased level of fear in the public society.
If disaster strikes, the Swedish government will turn to psychiatrist Philip Arnberg for advice on how to handle the country's collective mental state.
In all crisis management, even when it comes to human behavior and our psychology, we have to realize that most of the preparations that we can do are things that we have to do before the crisis.
Flour. A lot of flour.
So I think overall it is a good idea to increase the awareness among the public.
Something to make the water taste good.
Back in Lotta Dalenius's house, that means having a well-stocked freezer.
Butter, you buy it on sale and then you freeze it. Very good. Stuff like that. I bake my own bread and put it in here. You have to have like cake as well. If you have to flee from here, then you can't bring all the stuff. You have to take what's important. I'll take my axe. If the end of the world is coming, well, take a glass of wine and just relax. We're not gonna make it anyway.
So guys, in talking with my husband, and hopefully he'll start getting on these videos with me, but he was like, that is so ridiculous for that person to say, well, I'm not like these preppers, because what do they take down first? They take down cities first, okay? Cities is the first thing to go crazy, where you're going to have looting, you're going to have murder, you're going to have all these different things going on. It starts in the cities, and then they fan their way out. Okay, so the further you guys can get out of the city, the better it will be. Now, I know that's not likely for a lot of people because of financial, reasons. So fortify wherever you are so that it's not easy for someone to get to you, your family, your preps. Y'all have a blessed day. I hope you enjoyed this video. Share it out. Please feel free to hit that like button because it does help the channel, and leave me some comments down below. Let me know what you think about this video, and are you going to start preparing and encouraging your family and friends to also prepare, because when something does happen, they're going to look to you because they know that you are prepping. And while they think it's extreme right now for you to be doing it, once that SHTF does happen, guess what? They'll act like they never said, why are you doing that?